Hello. I'm having a walk. A long one. Headed to Toon. I've been eating blackberries and hawthorns and a few wee rose hips as well. Rose hips weren't so good. The hawthorn berries have a very neutral flavour. Practically no flavour really, by my lights. But they have a kind of a fun, fleshy texture. And well, I came upon this bush here. It's a real bumper crop. So here's the thing that I picked up actually on the Arizona custom knife website. Made in USA, tiny wee pouch that turns into a kind of a foraging bag. So I thought I would just fill that up and, you know, take a moment to make a wee video, speak about hawthorn, what I know about it, which is not that much, but you know, I got some tidbits. So many years ago I learned from a Romanian guy about how hawthorn is really good for the heart. And it's a very interesting thing because I believe this has been rather scientifically validated. And yet there isn't a really good numbskull basic science explanation for how it works. But the hawthorn plant, leaves and berries, are good, yes, medicinal. Good for the heart, and whether your heart is running too fast or too slow, or it jogs and stutters or whatever it does, seemingly it's there in the resonance of the plant. It will stabilize the heart. And I, like most of us, have had some heartbreaks in life, and perhaps about 10 years ago, I actually started to feel some pain in my heart. I was with a friend hiking up Arthur's Seat, and I started to feel like something just wasn't quite right in the heart. And that's, ever since then, that's been one of those things. It comes and goes. But, you know, maybe at times of stress, emotionality, what have you, I might start to feel a bit of a weakness there in the old ticker. Maybe even a pain, you know. Not a strong pain, you know. Not something that tells me that I'm dying very quickly. Not dying at an accelerated, vastly accelerated rate, but, you know, maybe dying a little quicker than I ought. So yeah, I've been munching on these, and here, let me just chew one up. It's mostly seed, really. So chewing them up and spitting the seeds. Maybe a new hawthorn bush shall result. Then another thing I know about hawthorn, perhaps a true story, perhaps not. They say that Joseph, Jesus' daddy, visited Glastonbury, I think it is, down there in England, you know, near Stonehenge and all that good stuff. And he came carrying a hawthorn staff, and he planted that hawthorn staff in the ground, and lo and behold, it sprouted and turned into a whole big tree. And for all I know, they might even still have the tree somewhere that would be claimed to be that tree. Makes me wonder if I took a hawthorn staff with me back to the US and planted it in the ground, would it grow? Or would I just get in trouble at customs, like the time I flew in as an adolescent and got stopped at customs, had my entire bag pulled apart. The gentleman who was doing the investigation, told me about his time in the military and, you know, how they would hide their beer in the cornflakes packet and this kind of thing, that kind of thing. And I wouldn't happen to have something else that I oughtn't to have. And I said, no, of course not. And he searched through my wallet and he found a little plastic baggie of the kind that would be commonly used as a so-called dime bag, using the US terminology. You know, maybe had a little bit of prohibited weed in there. It was empty, but there were a couple of grains in there, and he held that up to his colleague and said, hey, can we get a positive on that, you think? And the colleague said, oh yeah, sure we can. And I just about crapped myself. But I guess he figured I was a good egg at the end of the day. So I didn't get a positive test on the bag. But I did get searched again the next few times I flew into the country. I guess they forgot all about that now. And interestingly, when I got on my flight in the US to come out here, by the time I got onto the plane, I realized that nobody had looked at my passport the entire time. And so I can confirm the news as reported by Rob Braxman on YouTube, among no doubt others, that the US has gone full biometric. But you're supposed to have a real ID. Well, I think I've gone on long enough. Thanks for watching.